Hello, my name is Jimmy Wren, and you're about to see an interview like you've never seen before. I'm about to interview a man who was extremely overweight, but who has now lost an eye-popping amount of that weight. You will hear his inspiring story of overcoming years of obesity and food addiction, and you'll learn the secret to his amazing transformation. But what makes this interview so different from anything you've seen before, and what makes me so excited to do this interview, is that I'm going to be interviewing myself. Not the current me, of course, but the future, much less chunky me. So please join me now for this very rare interview where I talk to the future thinner me, the me who has done all the research, explored all the options, and has already figured out what really works to lose a lot of weight and keep it off. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me and answer my weight loss questions. You look amazing.
You're welcome. You don't look too bad yourself, but you will soon look even better.
I'm looking forward to it. This is really encouraging. So tell us, how much weight have you lost since starting this weight loss journey?
140 pounds.
Wow, that is a big number.
I was a big guy.
Can't argue that. So have you hit your goal weight yet?
Not yet, but I'm still shedding pounds and I'm getting closer by the day. I have just about 15 more pounds to lose.
That's great. Congratulations. I must say, I'm having a hard time believing that this is even possible, but there you are.
Here I am.
So would you please share with us what led you to begin this weight loss journey?
Yeah, if you're anything like me, and I think you are, you've been struggling with your weight for years now, perhaps most of your adult life. Now for me, it's been the most difficult and the hardest battle of my entire life. And it's not like I haven't tried. I've joined gyms, I've joined weight loss programs, I've counted calories, kept food diaries, tried going vegan, and even tried a high protein, low carb fad diet or two. And the truth is, all of those things did produce results, but for me they were all temporary. And the weight I lost would soon be back, and I would eventually be even heavier than when I first started. So after a while, I just gave up trying.
That's true. So there's only so much torture that you can put yourself through when you have so little to show for your efforts. So what changed?
Well, the problem of giving up meant that I still had to suffer with all the implications and consequences that go along with being excessively overweight. I had at least a half a dozen health issues that were the direct result of, or were made much worse by, my being so overweight. I knew that my weight was also holding me back professionally, not just from what potential clients would think when they saw me, but also because of the energy and enthusiasm that I wasn't able to bring to my job because I was so overweight. Now I also knew that my weight was very hard on my wife and my kids, who had a dad who was often too sick or too tired to fully engage, play, or help out at home. I knew they were worried about me, and they'd wonder, how long I'd even be around.
And just as you were in the midst of living like this, something significant changed in your family life. Tell us what it was.
Sure. Yeah, at that time, my wife and I had 3 children, and like most people at that stage of life, we were quite busy and feeling a bit overwhelmed. But God had something more in mind for us, and we found ourselves in a position where we unexpectedly adopted 2 children who were ages 17 months and 8 months old.
And that is an unbelievable story in and of itself, but one which we don't have time to get into today. But tell us what that did to your weight.
Well, as you can imagine, or I guess I'm sure you're well aware, although this was a very joyful and exciting event in our lives, it did place a great deal of additional demands on our family, and our stress levels went from about 7 out of 10 to about 12 out of 10. And as a result, I started putting on even more pounds, and I got up to my all-time high of 339 pounds.
But those same babies ended up serving as an inspiration to you, right?
Yes, really my whole family did. I was looking at these 2 babies and wondering to myself if I would ever see them graduate from high school or ever be able to walk my youngest down the aisle. And as I started to think honestly about it, I started to realize that if I didn't make a change soon, there was a chance I might not even be there to walk my then 17-year-old daughter down the aisle someday. And then I would start thinking of my wife sitting alone at all these key events in my kids' lives, and I didn't want that to be her experience.
So although the adoption initially made things worse as far as your weight goes, it also ended up serving as a great motivation for you.
Yes, yeah, I wanted to be there for my wife and my kids for many years to come, and I knew the only way that was going to happen was if I made a change, and I made it soon.
And you did just that.
Yes, by the grace of God, I did.
So how has life changed for you since you've lost so much weight?
Well, besides looking so much thinner and no longer having the same shame and embarrassment that comes with being so fat, no offense.
None taken.
The big thing is that I just feel so much better. I'm sleeping better. I no longer have the back, knee, and joint pain that I used to have. I couldn't even get into or out of a chair before without feeling some sort of ache or pain. You know, my time with my family is also so much better because I've got more energy and I'm able to do more activities with them than I ever could before. And you know, one of the biggest changes is that food no longer occupies such a huge portion of my thoughts and energy. It has been wonderful.
If anyone else were telling me I could experience all of that, I wouldn't believe them. But somehow coming from you, it seems credible. You have no idea how much I've longed to experience that. Okay, you probably do, but you get my point. So here's the bottom line. Life is better?
Way better.
That is great. I didn't even know that kind of life was really even a possibility for me. I really hope I can do this.
I have a feeling you will.
I bet you do. Now, the really big question I think we all want to know is, how did you lose all that weight?
Yes, but before I get to that specifically, may I first tell you how I found the program that I ended up following?
Absolutely. You know me, I'm never one to deny myself.
Which is, of course, why we're having this conversation in the first place.
Touché. Please continue.
Well, when I was looking for a weight loss program, I had a few requirements that I needed to be met if it was going to work for me. After all, I'd been down this road many times before, and I didn't want to waste my time and effort on one more failed experiment.
Amen. So, what was the first requirement you had when selecting a program?
The first criteria I had was that I wanted an approach that gave me the absolute best odds of succeeding. I knew that the statistics on successful weight loss were terrible and not very encouraging, especially for someone who is quite overweight. For example, if you were to take 100 people who began a weight loss program and you were to line them up shoulder to shoulder and then ask everyone who was actually able to successfully get back down to a healthy weight to step forward, you would have just one person step forward.
Wow.
Yeah, and the news gets worse. If we were to now find 100 people who were that 1% who did manage to get to a healthy weight, then we lined them up shoulder to shoulder and asked every one of those people to step forward. If they had maintained a healthy weight just a few years later, at best, maybe 10 of those 100 would step forward. Some studies suggest as few as only 1 out of 100 would step forward.
Not very encouraging, is it?
No, so if you've tried the traditional weight loss and diet programs and experienced temporary but never permanent success, you are not alone.
Wow. So what you're basically saying is that the entire process and way we approach weight loss is broken. It simply will not work for about 99% of the population.
That's exactly right. So if you've tried to lose weight in the past, only to have it all come back and then some, don't be too hard on yourself. It is not your fault. With the way that we've been told our whole lives to approach weight loss, the odds are so stacked against you that, failure is virtually guaranteed.
So that explains why your first criteria in selecting a weight loss program was to find a program that had a much better success rate than the traditional methods.
Yes, I was not interested in adding one more diet program to my list of failures.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So what was your next requirement when looking for a weight loss program?
Yeah, so the next requirement I had was a program that didn't require me to buy expensive supplements or prepackaged food. And it's not that I wasn't willing to financially invest in my own weight loss success, because I was. In fact, if you're not willing to invest some time, money, and energy into your weight loss efforts, then you're unlikely to succeed.
I agree.
But if I were to rely on a specific brand of packaged foods or shakes or whatever to lose weight, what happens after I lose the weight? Am I just stuck buying that expensive stuff the rest of my life? And on those type of programs, I'm always wondering, are they really interested in my long-term weight loss, or are they just really interested in selling me more and more of their products?
Yes, it can seem like a conflict of interest, can it? So requirement 1 was a program with the best odds of success. Requirement 2 was a program with no food or supplements to buy. What was the third requirement?
My third requirement was that I needed a program that understood the psychology of weight loss and would use that knowledge to my advantage. I knew that a program that just focused on nutrition would be pretty much useless. You know, there seems to be this assumption that overweight people just don't understand nutrition and exercise, and that it just needs to be explained to us. It's like fat equals stupid.
Exactly. And in fact, when it comes to nutritional knowledge, the exact opposite is usually true.
That's right. If you're looking for someone who knows a lot about nutrition, how many calories a particular food has, how much protein you should have in a day, etc., ask your overweight friends and colleagues. They will usually know way more than your skinny friends because they're the ones who've been through countless diets and nutrition programs over the years.
That is so true.
Yeah, so I needed a program that fully understood the psychology of weight loss, because the truth is our scientific understanding and knowledge of diet and nutrition has really never been greater, and yet we've never been fatter. If greater nutritional knowledge was all it took, we would see our obesity rates steadily declining, and of course we do not.
So you're saying that there's so many of us who are struggling with obesity. We have all this nutritional knowledge, but putting them together is not solving the problem. Something is still missing?
Yes. And that is where the psychology of weight loss enters the picture. I had a feeling that this was the missing piece because after finishing college, I guess we earned a master's degree in psychology.
I don't remember you writing any papers.
No, I left that up to you. But I knew that from my training that all of my past weight loss failures, that if a weight loss program going forward was to actually work for me, it would have to work on a psychological and neurological level as well. Providing nutritional education was not going to be enough. I wanted a program that would incorporate the latest brain science so that the deck could be stacked in my favor rather than stacked against me as it has been so many times in the past.
From the looks of things, you did end up finding a program that met all 3 of your requirements and that is really working for you. Please tell us what program you used.
The program that fit everything I was looking for and that has helped me lose so much weight after all the other programs have failed me is called the Brightline Eating Boot Camp.
Brightline Eating Boot Camp?
Yes.
Tell us more.
Brightline Eating is a program that was created by brain and cognitive psychologist Dr. Susan Peirce Thompson. Now, the program is based on scientific research that shows that our brain may be our biggest obstacle to weight loss, especially for those of us who are quite overweight and who are particularly susceptible to food addiction.
So, where does the term Brightline Eating come from?
Well, in order to get our brains working for us and not against us when it comes to losing excess weight and maintaining a healthy weight, participants in the program learn to follow just 4 key rules or bright lines that have been shown to retrain your brain to go from sabotaging your weight loss to supporting your weight loss long term.
So there were just 4 rules or bright lines that you followed to lose all your weight?
That's right.
That sounds pretty simple.
It is quite simple in the sense that these bright lines are called bright lines because it's very clear and easy to know if you've stayed within your bright lines or if you've crossed or violated your bright lines. Now, that doesn't mean it's easy to maintain your bright lines, but it is fairly simple to learn and understand.
So how specifically did you get started with this program?
Well, the first thing I did was to read Susan Peirce Thompson's book, Brightline Eating: The Science of Living Happy, Thin, and Free. And I loved it. This wasn't some personal trainer who was skinny her whole life, never been a pound overweight, telling you to eat more vegetables and work out 2 hours a day. Dr. Thompson really gets it. She was very overweight herself for many years and struggled deeply with food addiction. And like me, she had tried lots of diets and programs and only ever saw temporary success.
And it sounds like she was able to describe you to a T.
Yes, it was like she had interviewed me for the book and she knew all my struggles and failures around food. So after reading the book, I knew that this program was my best shot at losing my excess weight for life.
So what was the next step?
Well, the next thing I did was to sign up for the Brightline Eating Boot Camp.
Now, did you have to travel somewhere for this?
No, the entire boot camp program is done online. So I didn't have to travel anywhere and I didn't have to attend any meetings.
Oh, that's really nice. So when you signed up for the boot camp, did you start losing weight right away?
Yes and no. When you first sign up for the boot camp, you don't start any changes to your diet right away because, you first have to learn what changes you need to make. You are provided, though, with training modules and lots of other resources to prepare you to start your first day of Brightline Eating. Now, you may decide to start your day one of Brightline Eating within just a few days of starting boot camp, or you might choose to wait a few weeks to prepare. It's really going to be up to you.
Well, what did you do?
Yeah, I gave myself a few weeks just to make sure that I was really prepared to start the program, and for me, that was a great decision. The training and insight that you receive to prepare you for this lifestyle change is excellent.
That's great. So what did you do in this boot camp? What are these bright lines that you followed to lose all of this weight?
Sure. Well, the 4 bright lines taught in the program and that changed my life are, number 1, no sugar, including artificial sweeteners of any kind. Number 2, no flour of any kind. Number 3, you only eat at mealtime, no snacking between meals. And number 4, you eat a precise quantity of healthy food at mealtime and no more.
And how was it starting to follow these bright lines?
Well, it's called the Brightline Eating Boot Camp, not the Brightline Eating Pleasure Cruise. And of course, boot camp is actually a good description, not only because it can be hard, in fact, it's really one of the hardest things I've ever done, but it's also called a boot camp because it works. When you join the military, they don't put you in a boot camp just as some sort of rite of passage. They put you in a boot camp because it's the best way to train you and give you the skills you need to be able to do what you need to do to survive and be successful. That's what Brightline Eating has given me. It's helped me to survive and live a successful life.
That is so exciting. I'm ready to sign up. If you folks want to learn more about our story, get a current update on how you are doing, and learn more about Brightline Eating, what should they do?
Well, I've created a website where I share more of my story and my experiences with Brightline Eating. You'll be able to learn everything I wish I had known before starting Brightline Eating. You'll be able to see the kinds of foods that I eat and the kinds of recipes I use in Brightline Eating. Now, I'll also share with you a lot of the tips and tricks that I use to make staying within my bright lines easier and much more enjoyable.
And where can folks find your website?
Yes, you can find my website at nolongerchunky.com.
That's nolongerchunky.com?
Yes, nolongerchunky.com.
Great. Well, I'm going to visit your website right now and start getting ready for boot camp. Thank you so much for the interview. I really look forward to enjoying your success in the future. I'm going to let you close out our interview.
So could you relate to anything I shared? Have you been struggling with your weight for many years now? Have you had temporary diet successes in the past only to see all the weight come back and then some? Have you ever just reached the point of just giving up on the whole weight loss thing and just tried accepting the fact that you'll always be fat? Well, as you just saw, that certainly described me most of my adult life. But then I learned about the Brightline Eating Boot Camp, and the systems and the strategies that you discover in the boot camp, along with the amazing experience you have going through the 8-week boot camp, well, it's no exaggeration to say that it changed my life. Now, the official goal of Brightline Eating is to help you live happy, thin, and free. So if you're interested in learning more so that you can live happy, thin, and free, what should you do? Well, the first thing I'd love you to do is give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. I'll be happy to keep you posted on my progress and provide you with lots of tips, tricks, and encouragement as you prepare to meet the future thinner you. Second, I've put together a free guide that you might find helpful. It is the 6 simple steps that I use to successfully complete the Brightline Eating Bootcamp. Now in this guide, I'll explain the exact steps that I took to prepare for the Brightline Eating Bootcamp, 2 of which may be a bit controversial. Now these are the steps I used that gave me a good foundation for a successful bootcamp. And in fact, by following these steps, I actually ended up losing 8.4 pounds in the 10 days before even starting day 1 of bootcamp. For your free copy of this new guide, visit my website, nolongerchunky.com. That's nolongerchunky.com. Now there's also a link below in the description section of this video. Thank you so much for watching this interview. I hope that you found it helpful and are perhaps a bit inspired to prepare to meet the future thinner you.